What's happening, everybody? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Happy Black Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. Missed you last week. Good to be back with you here. Let's see who just jumped in. Oh, yeah. Like clockwork, 1224. How are you, buddy? Um, let's see here. See if I'll put that up on the screen for you guys who have comments, questions, anything going on today, anything on your mind. WSP, Earth Planet Janet. I don't know you, Earth Planet Janet, but thanks for joining in. So I hope everybody had a great holiday and is enjoying the weekend. I know I tried to get out a little bit today, and I was kind of moving around, and there was traffic all over. I mean, people still go to a mall. People still go to stores on Black Friday. I guess. I don't know. As quickly as I could get away from it today, I did. All right, everybody. So welcome. Watching planes, trains, and automobiles. Oh boy, that's hilarious. That's a new one. Yeah, I put you right up on the screen there. Let me see if I could. That's what I'm looking for right there. And we'll take that away. All right. So quite a few people joining. Thanks everybody for joining in. I'm Paul Burkhart, PB Sports Talk. I'm rolling solo again. My co-host Luke is not with us again. I think he's due to return not next week, but the following week. We look forward to that. And I miss him. We have some great going back and forth, and he played a lot against a lot of the NFL players. So I look forward to having Luke back pretty soon. I am to Brazil. Are you in Brazil? If you're in Brazil, that sounds kind of nice. Dilly Who's, hi. A bunch of highs there. All right, so lot to get to here. Actually, before I get to that, I'm sure there's some football fans watching here. There might be some Philadelphia Eagle fans watching here. I know there's got to be some One Pride Lions fans. As you all know, I was born and raised in Detroit. I'm a big Lions guy. That's my team. You can see the stuff behind me, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But what in the world is Nick Sirianni doing? You're playing the Chicago Bears. You're not playing well as a football team. You haven't since you played the Lions a few weeks ago. You gave up a 21-point lead last week to the Cowboys. You let them come back. The Bears are dominating you today. They're running the ball down your throat. You score a touchdown. You cut it to 9. I think it was roughly something like 5 minutes, right in that range. You're down 9. You kick the extra point. It's a 1-score game. 1 score and a 2-point conversion. This is as elementary as it can possibly be. I mean, literally middle school coaches know this. Extend the game for as long as you can. If you miss the extra point or you miss the 2-point conversion, you're down 2 full scores with 5 minutes left. Like, what could you possibly be thinking? You know, as a longtime former coach, I could tell you this, that I did everything literally in my power to make sure that I never overthought things, that I never got over analytical. And I believe in analytics. I'm a big believer in analytics. But to the extent that it is something so obvious and blatant that you have to recognize situational awareness, you have to recognize you have to put your number one responsibility as a coach is to put your team in a position to win, ultimately, at every level. There's a whole bunch of other things, obviously, that go with that, but you're the ultimate decision maker, whether that's a timeout, whether that's overruling a play call, deciding for 1 or 2 point, deciding on kicking a field goal or going for it, whatever the case may be. How in the world can you do that? Sure enough, they miss the 2-point conversion. They're still down 9, and then it's like, you know, the wind goes out of the sails. Players are probably thinking, "What the hell just happened?" Like you start to lose faith when that happens. As a coach, every move is not just scrutinized by the people in the stands or the people watching. in my world, when coaching younger teams, middle school, high school, AAU, I had parents looking at me. I had fans looking at me. I had players looking at me. The players, don't forget the players. The players are looking at the coach as well to put them in the best possible position to succeed. A whole bunch of people are frustrated in Philly. Players, AJ Brown being probably the biggest one. The fans are booing them the whole game. And it's like, you just threw it all on top of that. That's insane to me. Then you end up stopping them. You get the ball back. Because like Chicago would have played their cards differently had it been an 8-point game. Rest assured on that. But you actually got the ball back with a chance to do something. It's crazy. I can't even imagine what the post-game presser is and the question that he's being asked. And he's going to get, he's going to, it's already happened. You're on the same channel as Arthur. I'm not sure who he's going down the field with the ball, and he gets the goal. Pele. Oh, we're talking about. Yeah, I think we got the wrong football. I'm talking about American football. You're on the same channel as Arthur. I don't know who Arthur is, but anyways, soccer's a great sport, but we're talking American football. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in Philly. They have a terrific record, but they're not playing well, and they're going downhill fast. Before I continue here, in the upper right-hand corner of the screen here, you'll see a QR code. That's something new that we just rolled out this week. Take your phone, scan that. That'll take you right to our YouTube page, and you can subscribe right there. I'd love to have you jump on as a subscriber. I'm really working on some things. Luke will be as well, getting more and more things up on YouTube for you. Shorts and different videos and cuts and things like that. So go ahead and scan that and subscribe to our channel. Really appreciate that. And follow us on X at PB Sports Talks with an S on the end. Wojo from Detroit, long time writer. Happy belated birthday to you. Thank you for sharing my show. Promo, I guess you'll say, post on X. Thank you for sharing that earlier today. I really appreciate that. And Woj, if you are watching, I'm going to tell you, Bob Wojnowski from the Detroit News, been there forever and a day. 97 won the ticket. Pregame show for the Detroit Lions with Jennifer Hammond, Dan Miller, all kinds of different people. TJ Lang, Killer Kowalski, the late Killer Kowalski, and a lot of other people. Woj, if you're watching, I'm going to take you back. I'm going to say I'm 53. I was 19 at the time. So that's about 34 years ago. I reached out to you. I was touring Specs Howard Broadcasting School, and I was thinking about getting in the business then. And I messaged you. I emailed you. And so many people that are known like that back then especially. It's maybe a little bit different now with social media. But I asked Wojo, a veteran, very well-known veteran now, much, I guess, newer to the scene, you would say back then, but he was still very, very popular. And I asked him what his recommendation was and how he might be able to help me. And he said, and a lot of people won't even know who this is, but number 9, Skeeter Barnes, played for the Detroit Tigers. Then he was on the coaching staff, and then he was in the front office. Wojo, we call him, real quiet. Inside joke. If you're not from Detroit, you probably don't understand that. But he gave me Skeeter Barnes, either his phone number or email. Back at the time, email? Nah. Email didn't exist. 34. I did email him. So it had probably just started email. So Woj, I appreciate it then. And it's ironic that you shared my show post. And I'm going to clip this and make sure you get this in case you're not watching. So thank you for doing that earlier. So again, scan the code up at the top, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on X at PB Sports Talks. All right. So some of you that join the show regularly know about my affinity for the Lions, and born and raised in Detroit. And I made the famous prediction that's not looking so famous right now. 5 years ago, 3 weeks after Dan Campbell was hired, I predicted this, that the Lions would be in the Super Bowl within 5 years, 5 seasons. This is the 5th season. So That's not looking very good right now. It's up against it. This is the last year for the prediction. Obviously, it's just a fun prediction, and one that I almost hit. Against San Francisco out in Santa Clara a couple of years ago against the 49ers. Man, NFC Championship game, a half away. You're up 17 at half, and you're half away from getting it. Didn't happen. Didn't happen last year after 15-2 regular season, and so here we are. Here we are sitting at 7-5 after a very, very underwhelming performance yesterday. And everyone's freaking out. And, normally I get really frustrated about that. Now, this time I understand a lot of the frustration, but I want to address a couple of things. And I talked to a couple of guys that had articles, and I said that I was going to address some of these things. Dan Campbell's right. And this is not like it's not like fancy coach speak or like some inside information. The Lions are up against it. They've dug a hole. There's a lot of reasons that contribute to that. But and I don't want to get too worked up here because everyone's talking about the Bears right now. And here we go again with Ben Johnson. And this is if Ben Johnson was here and Dan Campbell's, making the play calls, and John Morton, he should be giving it back. And maybe some think that David Shaw should have it, or Mark Brunell or whoever. And game management has went down since Campbell took over, and he can't manage the game because he's making the calls. I mean, you're hearing everything. You're literally hearing everything. It's the ref's fault. It's injuries' fault. It's oh my gosh, golf is terrible. It's this, it's that. It's every single thing. Guys, this is really simple stuff. This is literally very simple stuff. And I don't care what team it is, what coach it is, what quarterback it is. I don't care if you got Saquon Barkley in the backfield, or you have Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield, or you have Barry Sanders in the backfield. If you do not have the ability to protect your quarterback and let your team operate its game plan, it doesn't matter who you are. It's not the refs, folks. It's not the play calling, folks. It's not that Ben Johnson is no longer there. It's not that Aaron Glenn necessarily is no longer there. It isn't Dontavian Wicks in the end zone as to whether or not that's 2 feet down. It's not Matt LaFleur running down the sidelines and did he get a timeout called in time or not? We know the answer to that, but we cannot look to those things. So if Matt LaFleur doesn't get that call, do you think it changes the outcome? Do you think if Dontavian Wicks doesn't get that touchdown, do you really think that changes the outcome? When you cannot protect and you could not score and you cannot possess the ball, it doesn't matter. It literally, unless the other team hands it to you, it's not going to change the outcome. So everybody thinks that if that timeout call, and yeah, I got it, he's like this, and he's calling in the play, and obviously the ref can't hear him. We know he was late. He was asked in the post-game presser, and he smiled. And who do you think he says to the guy? He knows it. You know it. I know it. We all know it. But did that really change the outcome? It did of that play, but did it really change anything? This was from the opening bell, folks. You lose St. Brown in the game, it obviously changes everything. You're trying to patch together an offensive line, and you're trying to get back on the right track. You're 7-4. You have 6 games left at the time. You have to go 6-0 or 5-1 at worst case. However, the most important thing, and I'm telling you guys this seriously, I was not Dan Campbell level coach, but you don't need to be to understand this. If you were a coach at any level, short of, it's got to be older than Pee Wee or something like that, or third or fourth grade. It matters how you play and how you are molded together and gelled together. You need to get in sync. And they had an opportunity to get in sync yesterday, and they didn't. Early in the season, prior to and early in the season, before the season, we did our picks. And I had been telling everybody and their brother that Matt LaFleur is a world-class head coach is inside the top 5. I have Jordan Love ranked higher than Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. I can't tell you how much heat I've taken on that. That's a couple of years old prediction. That's not even this year. And the dude's been injured, but you see what he can do when he has protection and when he's not injured. And that goes for everybody. All right. So the Lions last year broke some records. And I think that they're approaching it again to break some records with injuries. It's just crazy. I get it. But we cannot lose sight or lose track that this is everybody, guys. Does it seem like it's piling up on us? Yes. Does it seem like it's never ending? Yes. Does it seem like it's ever going to stop? No, it doesn't seem like it's ever going to stop. The minute you get somebody back, the minute somebody says they're coming out of retirement, and I'll get to that in a minute, St. Brown gets rolled up, a guy who's so durable, barely even misses a play, let alone have to come out of a game and is likely to miss some time. And they started out rough, really rough. And then, people are hollering and screaming and socials blowing up and stuff. And it's like a lot of credit, guys, needs to go to that offensive line for how they started to perform better against all odds. And it's still patchwork. You got Mahogany out. You got Glasgow out. You got Cologne playing his first start at center. You got all of this hodgepodge, mix it up, moving around. And it's literally like a bunch of pieces of a puzzle that you're trying to get to fit. And they actually did a pretty reasonable job to keep it semi-respectable for quite some time. And they were able to execute some things on offense with J-Mo obviously having a big game and with Kennedy. And somebody made a great comment. Somebody must have told Kennedy it's preseason. Dude's lights out in preseason, and then he's on the practice squad or never gets a chance up in the real in the real thing under the lights. But he accounted for himself very nicely. I get it, Laporta, St. Brown. I get it with all the injuries, guys. Rodrigo on defense, and it's Arnold one week, and it's DJ Reed one week, and it's just so many guys. I got it. Tucker Kraft on the other side, right? As I said, Jordan Love was injured there for a while. CD Lamb was out for a while for Dallas. I mean, the list is, I don't want to go through all of this, but guys are out on a lot of teams. And you have to find a way. The problem is they are deficient at the most important position along your offensive line. The loss of Ben Johnson is not even close to the loss of Frank Ragnow. Yes, I said it. And you can send me hate mail and you can blow up the screen here and you can say whatever you want. The loss of Frank Ragnow was greater than the loss of Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson put together. Now, as a professional football team, and I understand that you knew about it, more than the 11th hour, it was similar to Barry, and how Barry faxed in his retirement, I think it was the night before training camp. And it's like, you really don't have much time, but it was before the draft. I mean, they had to have some inkling and you didn't get it shored up, or the plan that you had didn't work out as you thought it would. And I'm going to get to that on the defensive side of the ball. It's very, very difficult for me to get upset with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, but I am going to start to touch on a couple of things where I guess you could call it me for the first time really criticizing these two guys, because I hold them in such high regard, and what they took over in our time and what they have built, and it's built to sustain and last for more than a window, guys. Like, if you follow me and you follow my content, you will learn very quickly that I don't believe in windows. Windows is for losers. Windows is for teams that just want to hit it and quit it, and they want to get one and get out. The Lions have designed themselves for the long term. Now, I'm going to say this and I'm not contradicting myself. With that being said, you have to pick some spots to make yourself better, and you have to pick your spots strategically to make sure that within your redefined era or your redefined Lions organization that you play for the big prize. The last thing we want is to be Mike Tomlin. I mean, he's the poster child for 9 to 11 wins and do nothing else, basically. I don't want that. I know you don't want that. We don't want to go 15-2 last year and get a first round bye and get bounced. We don't want to go to the NFC Championship the year before and up 17 at half and then end up losing, right? We don't want to be 7-5 right now. I get it. You've got to cash in. It's not even just about getting to the Super Bowl. It's about winning the Super Bowl. NFL for Shella, another shout out to John. You know, we had a conversation this morning about, what's up, ETF? Welcome. Lamar Jackson, I don't even have in my top 8 quarterbacks. And he says to me this morning, he's like, Lamar Jackson had one of the best seasons. Lamar Jackson had one of the best seasons in NFL history last year. Based on what? What's the criteria? How do you rank that? Is Lamar Jackson going to take that team to a Super Bowl? No, he's not going to. He's not going to this year, and he hasn't in any year previous, and he's not going to do it next year or the year after. That ultimately is how I define my opinion, and how I define how successful a team is based on how they get to and play in the postseason, and how likely are they, how strong of a candidate are they truly to not just get to a Super Bowl, but to win a Super Bowl. So you might say Patrick Mahomes. Well, you can't throw Patrick Mahomes in there, right? Because he's always there. You can't even put Jalen Hurts in there. He's been there twice, right? It's people like Dak Prescott. It's people like Lamar Jackson. It's people like Josh Allen. Jared Goff has been there, not with the Lions, but he's been there. You could look at, Joe Burrow has been there. Matthew Stafford's obviously been there. You gotta, in my opinion, the criteria is such that it doesn't matter what you do in game 6, let's say, of the regular season. It matters, can you be the difference, in my opinion, can you be the difference maker and be something more than any other quarterback can provide for your team? Like a Josh Allen as an example. They have not been near, in my opinion, not near the most talented team offensively or defensively, basically in his entire career. But the dude makes them a legitimate Super Bowl contender and a deep playoff run contender because of the way he can play the position. And sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times he can just take the game over. You could look at Mahomes yesterday and what he's doing. Something's broken over there, and dude's running around and he's diving and he's making these plays, and it's like he relies on his legs in the big moments, and I just don't think that Lamar's going to do that. So I'm getting a bit off track. I want to circle back and come back to the Lions because a lot of people are blaming Goff for this too. Jared Goff is what Jared Goff is. In order for Jared Goff is not a difference maker without quality performance, skilled players, and a super solid offensive line that is schematically driven to be able to run the ball and be able to operate in the play action. Without that, and it's again with any quarterback, it doesn't matter if you're a drop back, 5-step, 7-step guy, you're a play action guy. It doesn't matter what it is. No quarterback can survive without an offensive line. But Jared doesn't have the ability to improvise and get out of the pocket. So he's limited to the pocket. So he's more so restricted. He's not like a Josh Allen or a Mahomes or Lamar, for that matter, that can move the pocket and be nimble and make plays with his legs, not necessarily running, but out of the pocket and make plays, throw guys open that way. He needs his box, and everybody knows this. And the offensive line is not there, guys. Somebody said today, well, there were 2 comments. It was Taylor Decker, I think. Taylor Decker said he's known for about a month that Ragnow was coming out. I haven't heard, or coming back. I haven't heard the news yet as to why he waited within those 4 weeks. I totally understand why he retired and why he might have had it in his mind. Do I do it? Do I not do it? Guy's got, he's 29 years old. He has $57 million in career earnings prior to this year. So he walked away from his contract, but money he actually made prior to 2025 was $57 million, 29 years old, married with 2 children. And his most recent child, his daughter, was born just a month ago in October. Got a great family life, living life, but there's something there. I don't think it's money that he's doing it for. I think those are his brothers. I think, hey, Adam, welcome. I think those are his brothers. I think he sees what we all see, Lions fans. He sees the need. He sees the loss. He wants to win. He wasn't there for all of the good times. He was there for a lot of bad times prior to Campbell. He was with Patricia and Dan Quinn, or not Dan Quinn, Bob Quinn. And, he wants to win. Multi-time Pro Bowl, former All-SEC, former All-American, all of those things. He wants to win. And he felt like, hey, if I can come back, I can maybe do this and I can help and I feel better. And, I had another child and who knows what's going through his mind. Why did he wait those 4 weeks? If Decker says he's known for a month, why did he wait to the 11th hour and the deadline was there and you have to file the paperwork to come back or you're null and void for this year? And it goes out the window when he could have helped us. And now he couldn't play this week, obviously yesterday. And I don't believe he's eligible to play next week, but there's some talk that he might not play till the following week. So will Frank Ragnow actually make the difference? How realistic is it to expect him to come on in and make that much of a difference immediately? There is still game conditioning. There is still being in the flow and being in sync with your guys. You could say it's like riding a bike. I was telling my wife the story and she's like, well, can he really do something? I said, it was kind of like riding a bike, but it takes a couple of games and they don't have that. They have used all their extra leash. 7-4, you get to 8-4. You could have spared one loss. Now you can't lose. Now you have 5 games left and you can't lose one of them. You have to win out. Prior to the year, I predicted that the Lions would be 13-4, 12-5 worse. Worst case scenario. Now they have to win out to go 12-5. And I'm going to pull up the schedule here in a minute. And pretty much everybody on that schedule, with the exception of the Rams, yeah, it's basically everybody, because everybody's to get into the playoffs or a potential bye or positioning, home field, etc. So they're mostly must wins for everybody. For the Lions, it's not about position. It's not about the division. It's about getting in at this point. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've never been a fan of 15-2 and getting a bye necessarily. I understand the potential benefits, the extra week, you could rest up and get healthy, but it also has the adverse effect in that a team that pushes and pushes and pushes to get in and they're on a roll, those teams are generally more dangerous, i.e. the Washington Redskins last year versus us, took us to task and beat us. The thing of it is now is, against all odds, injured, with not an easy schedule the remaining 5 games, you've got to go through it and win those 5 games just to have a chance to get in. Will 12-5 get you in? There's a great shot, but you need a few pieces to fall as well. Now, let's talk about Dan Campbell for a second. Everybody at the 4th down calls and stuff. You can't have it both ways, guys. They got to the position that they got to because of some of those things. Because of those decisions, because of those calls. No one had a problem with it when they were going to the NFC Championship game. And when Josh Reynolds dropped that ball, you can't blame Dan Campbell for that 2 years ago. Now, it's 6 in a row or 7 4th downs in a row they haven't gotten? Is that Dan Campbell's fault? Or is it execution? Gibbs has got J-Mo wide open. He throws the ball behind him. Guys, that's how it's supposed to work. And there's other moments that within this 0 for 6, 0 for 7, where the plays are there to be made and they're just not making the plays. That's not a Dan Campbell thing. Oh, he should have kicked the field goal. He didn't kick, kick the field goal. Why you got to go for 7? Because they couldn't stop anybody. And they weren't going to stop anybody, and he knew that. What you did against Philly 3 weeks ago, I guess that was a mirage. Because everyone else has done it. The Cowboys, after being down, 21, the Cowboys held them scoreless. They looked like ass today against the Bears, and the Bears are not some kind of great defensive team. Philadelphia can't score. They can't consistently move the ball. They look like a mess. I watched the whole game. They're a mess. They can't complete simple routes, completions. Saquon Barkley looks like he got old overnight, but I even got to catch myself. Lane Johnson's not playing. An all-world, all-pro, likely Hall of Famer goes down, it changes everything. Timing, chemistry, your ability to call certain plays, all of it is affected. And Jalen Hurts is not comfortable. Why he's not running as much as he used to, I'm not sure about that. I don't know why, because they would be better if he gets a little bit more mobile. I understand he's trying to stay in the pocket, but get a little bit more mobile. He has that ability, whereas Goff doesn't have that ability. He can move the pocket. He can change the game. He can make a play. He can compensate for a little bit at least. Roll coverage or roll the pocket in the other direction, opposite of Lane Johnson's side, and make a play. I'm not going to blame Dan Campbell, guys. I'm not going to blame him for taking over the play calling duties. I mean, Jamison Williams wasn't even a part of anything with John Morton. And Dan's looking for answers. When you're a coach, regardless of level, and things are not going well, you're looking for answers. You're looking to shake it up because doing nothing is unacceptable. Now, yes, to both. Roll the pocket either opposite of him. I don't think I said left tackle, but yes, right tackle. Roll them the other way. I'm not going to blame Dan Campbell, guys. I'm not. Players, hey Zeus, what's going on, buddy? Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I can't blame this on him. And so the play calling, guys, I don't think the play calling is bad. When Jahmyr Gibbs is going for 264, yeah, thanks, Adam. When Jahmyr Gibbs went for 264 yards all in last week, not a whole lot of people were saying anything. It's inconsistent. It's out of sync. It's not in full flow. I mean, it's obvious. I'm a little bit, I don't know if I'd say more concerned. The defense can't make a stop, guys. And if you want to call the Dontavian Wicks no catch that everybody believes it is, then Amik Robinson holding down Watson's arm is pass interference. It just is. They go both ways, guys. Oh, is it a false start? Is it not a false start? You start getting down to that, it wouldn't have made a difference, honestly. Again, it would, in my opinion, it would not have made a difference. You have the inability to stop them. Now, why is that happening? Everybody was screaming at Brad Holmes at the deadline to get somebody. They stood pat, and they believed in Muhammad, and they believed in, and this one I'm gonna question. I don't understand what the infatuation is with Marcus Davenport. I do not know. I think I could move faster on that end than he can. There is literally like some loyalty to him, and he's just a body out there. He doesn't impact the game, and it doesn't appear in any way, shape, or form. So you didn't go out and you didn't, they may have done it behind the scenes, and it goes to what you just said, 1224. I'll never question a play call because we don't know their philosophy and in the play calling. And we don't know what happened behind the scenes either. We can speculate. We hear reports. We can think that maybe they made an offer for Trey Hendrickson. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it was too rich. Did you want to go get Micah Parsons? Do you want to mortgage it for Micah Parsons? If you had Micah Parsons, but your offensive line was blown up, did you make a difference? Would it have made a difference? Would that get you over the hump? These are questions that they're asking. And I don't care if it's a sports team or a standard business, which I ran a sports team, nothing like that. But I ran, pretty good sized businesses. And you have to look at every factor. You can't just throw caution to the wind right now and try to win only and jeopardize next year and the year after and the year after. I think if it's Jeff Rieger or if it's maybe it's Matt Derry, though, Sean Belizean, go. You got to go now. You got to go now. It's Super Bowl or bust. It's Super Bowl or bust. Hey, for me, I want the Super Bowl too. Yes, he sure is. And here's the thing too. And those of you who follow me know I'll own my shit when I'm wrong. When the Lions drafted Aiden Hutchinson, I was not happy. Not that I wanted them to take Trayvon Walker, which they couldn't have anyways, because he was taken 1 overall by Jacksonville. But I wasn't a Aiden Hutchinson fan. I did not think that he equated to or translated to the NFL level. I was proven wrong. And he had 2 stellar seasons. He got himself a big contract. But to your point, Jesus, when you're talking about Micah Parsons and his ability to move around, and Hutchinson moves around too sometimes, and they can change a game in an instant, almost on cue, and make a play like that, chasing somebody down. And it's not that Hutchinson hasn't done it before, but it's not happening in the biggest moments this year. Why is that? What do you have? 9? I believe it was 9.5 sacks going into yesterday. Don't quote me on that. I don't have it written down here, but I believe it 9.5. Why is he not impacting the game? Is it because there's no help on the other side? Micah Parsons has Rashawn Gary on the opposite side. Kenny Clark went in that trade, so he didn't have Kenny Clark, but he's got balance throughout the defense and other people that have the ability to make a play. Now, Aleem McNeil actually played a really nice game yesterday. But if you have no threat coming from the other side, I mean, you can structure your play calling to offset, and they're chipping the hell out of him. There was a tight end chip on him that almost blew his shoulder out. And that's part of scheme too. That's part of LaFleur properly calling the game to limit or negate Hutchinson's effectiveness. And it worked. And that's credit to the Packers. Hutchinson got drilled by the old lineman, Giants old lineman, saying Aiden Hutchinson's basically, he didn't do anything all day. And I thought Hutchinson would come out and really light the world on fire yesterday, because I thought that would motivate him. I didn't really see it. So there's a lot of things wrong. And I don't think you can necessarily point at Dan Campbell. You could look at the injuries. You could look at the offensive line. Calvin Shepard, again, world beater, looking at everybody. Orlovsky, and everybody's going crazy. Oh, my God. That's one of the best defenses that I've seen in a while. And, this stuff changes weekly. It literally changes weekly. Maybe like I've been following the NFL for 45 years. I was probably 8 years old, 8 years old when I started watching it. And this might be like the parity and the way the league can change, and somebody can go crazy like the Colts or now the Bears, or how the Lions did it and turn things around so quickly and go on these crazy runs. The Bucs have done it. Other teams have done it too. Reminds me of the Rams, like Dick Vermeil, back what he did with the Greatest Show on Turf. They went from 3-13 to 13-3 one year to the next. That's what this feels like. So, yeah, my Super Bowl pick, to Jesus's point, I put it up here. I'll put it up again for anybody that just that just joined in, I said this 5 years ago in February of 2021. This upcoming February will be 5 years that the Lions will be in the Super Bowl. This is my last year to get the prediction right. Lions would have to run the table at this point, probably get some help, and a whole lot of luck to come on into that. So I'm not blaming the refs. I'm not blaming Campbell. I'm a little bit concerned about somebody said it today, and I thought it was the way I can't remember exactly how they wrote it, but I would say that it was relatively legitimate in that who Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell trusted, they may have second guesses. So it goes to like Davenport that I'm talking about. It goes to guys like DJ Reed, like Terry and Arnold. Terry and Arnold is not a difference maker. DJ Reed is not a difference maker. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, there you go, another injury. Those are difference makers at the safety position. Jack Campbell, even Anzalone, difference makers. Derek Barnes has had moments, I get it, but I wouldn't call him a difference maker. Flashes, spots. Ali McNeil, difference maker. Hutchinson, difference maker, but there are not game changers. Like, just totally change it on a dime, like throughout that roster. And they can't put pressure on the quarterback consistently. And just about any quarterback in the NFL, including backups like Jacoby Brissett or some of those other guys, Davis Mills, you give somebody a clean pocket with time, you can't, especially the way the league is designed, you can't cover people that long with, yeah, that player punching at the opposing player. That was the beginning of the end for the Lions, in my opinion. You talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown? I don't think that's the beginning of the end, in my opinion. I respect yours, but I don't think that has anything to do with the fact that they're not playing well, and they weren't playing well before then either. It's been all year long. Offensively, they've got playmakers all over the field. Jameson Williams can make plays all over the field. Jahmyr Gibbs, difference maker, can change the game on a dime. Amon-Ra St. Brown, change the game. Sam Laporta, change the game. They're missing. They need at least one or two difference makers on the defensive end. And that's got to be able to pick you up through moments like what you saw. Now, I wrote this down. Caleb Williams today. So this is what I mean. 17 of 36 for 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, 14 yards rushing. He's been average at best all year long. But you got both running backs well over 100 yards. You're mashing one of the best interior defensive lines, actually the whole defensive line, and you're moving them, and you're basically getting 5 to 6 yards a carry. And you can do whatever you want. So Ben Johnson can basically call whatever he wants. So Ben Johnson looks like a genius. How good does Dan Campbell look when the offensive line is functioning? 264 yards last week for Jahmyr Gibbs. Look no further than that. Offensive line guys, defensive line guys, out. Offensive line out, defensive line out. Without it, you're weak. It's that simple. And the Lions, 1 week their offense is up, their defense is down. 1 week their defense is down, their offense is up. It's not consistent through all three phases of the game. And it's showing. It's showing badly. They are in trouble, and I don't say that, but they are in trouble. And now you have the Cowboys coming to town, who are 6-5, playing phenomenal, coming together as a team, are lighting it up offensively. They can run the ball. They have 2 stud receivers. They've got a stud tight end. Dak Prescott's maybe playing the best he's played in his career. And it's actually a good segue because I'm going to talk about Dak here in a minute. And now the Lions have to deal with that. And if the Cowboys win out, see, they're in a worse position than us at 6-5-1. We're 7-5. That tie hurts them badly. It's going to be very difficult. They need all kinds of help, even if they win out. But they believe now, man, they're on fire, and they're saying, hey, anywhere, anytime, we can beat anybody. Everything flipped. Everything changed for them. And I got to give them credit. It's very difficult for me to give Jerry Jones credit, but I got to give him credit because it's coming together and it's working out. George Pickens was a head case in Pittsburgh. And I don't know, maybe it was Tomlin. Maybe, and he already did stupid stuff. He goes and hugs the goalpost and he's like, I didn't know that was a penalty. No, that was Jameson Williams. I'm sorry. But Pickens has done a couple of stupid things with the Cowboys too, like he did in Pittsburgh. Tomlin had a short leash on him. Maybe it was too short. I don't know. But he's playing like all world. CD Lamb's a little bit inconsistent, but terrific. Ferguson is an underrated tight end. Offensive line seems to be doing better. Javonte Williams looks recharged and rejuvenated with some burst. Prescott's making all the right throws. Overshawn's back on defense. And it's like they look legit. They look legit. And now they're coming to Ford Field again on Thursday. Another Thursday game, which going into yesterday, 6 games left, 3 are on Thursday and 3 are on Sunday. Only three Sunday games left for the Lions. So the deck is stacked. Let me pull it up right now. Dallas, then the Rams, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Chicago. So Minnesota's a mess. You could basically chalk that one up. Pittsburgh, I think it's a mess. I think they're done. And I'll see. I forget who they're playing. I'll look here in a minute later when we do the picks. But they're done. Dallas, as I just mentioned, that's a serious threat. The Rams are a serious threat. They're looking to sew up home field. Chicago obviously went out and did it again today. So that's 5 games that they have to go 5-0. You're not even going to be able to go 4-1. 11-6. That's not getting you in. There's too many teams in front. We'll see how it works out. There you go. Rams 9-2. Eagles now 8-4 because this is prior to the game today. Bears now 9-3. Bucks are there at 6-5. Seahawks 8-3. Packers 8-3-1. Niners 8-4. Lions at 7-5. Then the Cowboys and Panthers behind them. So outside looking in, playoffs ended before the game yesterday. Playoffs ended. They weren't in it. Playoffs ended today. They're not in it. Not good. And there's going to be, if this ends up happening, and it sure seems likely, or at least a high probability. I think it was 55. Was it 55%? I think it was 55%. I can't remember if it was 55% before yesterday's game or after yesterday's game in terms of making the playoffs. So just call it somewhere around 50-50. I don't like 50-50 chances. To me, that's nothing to, bank on. That's flip a coin. And you're not playing well. You don't deserve a playoff spot right now. Now you go play well. You go hand it to Dallas, and maybe Ragnow comes back and you start gelling. Who knows what happens with St. Brown, but whether St. Brown plays or not, and you're effective and everybody else steps up. And I know Laporta's not there. Brock Wright, maybe he's back. Say step up. We'll see. So, guys, it's the Cowboys are playing for Marshawn Nealon inspired. Yeah, you got a point there. That might have jolted them, but that aside, they're coming together, and it was actually before that a little bit, and they started to play a little bit better. But yeah, that can push you. That could push you through. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, so like on the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones, I felt like he was in desperation mode. He's not long for this world, right? He's much, much older. He hasn't won since, 95 with Barry Switzer. And it's like it's kind of that now or never, and he gave up a lot. You're paying a lot of money to a lot of guys, massive contracts to CD Lamb, Dak Prescott. Then you go make those trades. You give up a lot of draft capital. You have some capital to work with, too. You gave up a 3rd-round pick for, was it 3rd or 4th? I think maybe it was a 4th-round pick for Mingo last year, wide receiver, desperation move to Carolina, and he just was throwing darts. Well, he's hit. And I often have not had Dak Prescott in the top 10 or even 11 quarterbacks. He's there now. He's playing his ass off. He's making throws. He's not making as many mistakes as he was, and he's got a lot of pieces. A lot of pieces around him to utilize. That helps, and he's getting the protection. You get the protection, you got a chance. They were very, I'm not a big Brian Schottenheimer guy either. I thought it was a terrible hire. That's what I thought at the time. I guess I'm still not convinced. You're still 6-5-1. It's not like you can unsee what we saw. It's not like you can undo a 6-5-1 record. There's multiple reasons as to why you're only 6-5-1 with a lot of talent on your team. I mean, you have more talent on your team now than you did in the beginning of the year. I understand, but you can't just erase that. That's part of it. And if they win out, they're probably not in. So there's going to be a lot of people upset there too. All right, let me address Lamar Jackson here for a minute, guys. So I actually put the clip up on X today. It's up on YouTube. It was 1 year ago this weekend. It was right after the flag planting moment between Michigan and Ohio State. I did the video right after that. I think it was on the Monday after. And I was talking about Lamar Jackson not even being in my top 10 quarterbacks. And NFL Freshella asked me today, and I don't have it written down in front of me. I most of my shows, I wing it, and I don't do too many notes. I like to be a little bit unscripted and keep it loose. But you can go through the standard names: Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow. Well, you could put Dak there now. Bo Nix, I had up there. There's a Jaden Daniels at the time. There's a solid, for sure, 8 to 9 quarterbacks ahead of Lamar Jackson. So back to what John said yesterday, 44 touchdowns and whatever interceptions, whatever it was last year. One of the best regular seasons ever. Key and operative words, regular season. In my opinion, he is the biggest small game quarterback maybe in the history of the NFL. Honestly, in terms of the way he's propped up and the way that everybody thinks he's so great and some of the video game type of numbers, it doesn't equate to big moments. That was a must win yesterday. You're playing the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I understand Burrow comes back, but they were 3-7. I mean, yes. Is Burrow better than Joe Flacco? Yes. Does it inject the team with some life? Yes. But you're supposed to be the Baltimore Ravens coached by John Harbaugh with the MVP. I mean, if you listen to Ryan Clark and RG3 and those guys, and not just them, but a whole bunch of other people, he's the best quarterback in the NFL to a lot of these guys, or at least in the top 2 or 3. And they have him way higher than Burrow and Herbert and Daniels and all of these Bo Nix and all of these Dak Prescott, all of these kinds of players. Where's he at in a must-win game? And he just looks disengaged. He looks disinterested. Somebody said he's either injured or what was the other thing? Or they're just not that good. I don't think he's injured anymore. I saw him get out of the pocket a couple of times. He did not look injured. Scatting out of there. He's skating out of there pretty good. I don't think so. He's just not a pocket passer, guys. He never has been. He never will be. If you take away some of his lanes to run the ball and stop him from scrambling around and doing all the crazy stuff and just hitting some 40, 50-yard pass, if you make him disciplined and keep him on his spot, I mean, he's the kind of guy that you actually want to keep him on a spot. You don't want to take him too far off his spot because that's where he could create and be a little bit dangerous. So you kind of keep him railed in or bumpered in, and he struggles to make plays. Now, does he have Jameson Williams? Does he have, Amon-Ra St. Brown? Does he have CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens? Does he have those guys? No. And he really never has. So not to contradict myself, He hasn't had all of those type of players, but for years he had a phenomenal offensive line. He does have Derrick Henry. Has been on a very well-coached team. There's been some pretty solid defenses that he's had, and he can't come through. So yesterday, I think, was another example that showed us exactly who he is. Yes, the blueprint is out on Lamar Jackson and how to slow him down. Absolutely. Now, that doesn't always work. There's blueprints across the league. It is a copycat league, just like basketball, like all the other sports. There's scouting reports, there's film, there's everything. You have entire departments with 6, 8, 10 guys in a department studying tendencies. So it's like, it's all about execution. You can have the greatest game plan in the world. It's about execution, whether that's defensively or offensively. You've got to execute the game plan on game day, bar none. And those who make the plays and make them clean generally have a greater chance to win. When he's trying to get away in the pocket there and the ball flips up and it goes right in the opposing player's hands on the 3 or 4 yard line, whatever that is, that's more than a sudden change. That's a gift. That's a 6-point gift. And guy just seems to make massive mistakes. I would never want him as the quarterback of my team under any circumstance. Boy, did I get crushed about that about a year ago. Everybody, of course, the racist card came out. You don't know ball. You don't know what you're talking about. This, that. I mean, everything. Oh, it's Josh Allen, right? Oh, this, oh, that. You know. Meantime, I had Jalen Hurts up there, Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, even CJ Stroud. I'm a huge fan. Jordan Love. I've been on Jordan Love's train forever. And I actually have Jordan Love ahead of him. It's like 5 black quarterbacks I have ahead of, or 4 ahead of Lamar Jackson, and I get called the R word. Whatever. It's like, you know, I heard somebody say the other day, they don't call you racist because they think you are. They call you racist because they want you to be one. I'm not going to become one. I don't care what color you are. I'm just evaluating the talent. What I saw with Jaden Daniels, what I see with Jordan Love, CJ Stroud's a little bit off, but what I see with him, a lot of times, I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're Tua, Hawaiian. I don't care if it was Shedeur Sanders. I don't care. If dude plays well and he somehow turns into something, I'm going to say it. I don't care. And everybody knows about my prediction, or most likely should know by now about my history about Shedeur Sanders and being spot on that. But I'll call it out. No problem. The Bears would get crushed there. That didn't work out so well. I was definitely wrong on that. My bad. All right. If you got questions, pop them up on the screen. Again, the barcode up there, the QR code, you can scan that with your phone. That'll take you right to our YouTube channel. Subscribe there. There's about 420, 430 videos up there, lots of shorts. Trying to get some more stuff up there. There'll be a lot of cuts up there. I'm going to really try to put in some more effort. And when Luke gets back into action, we're going to do a lot of teaching things. So if you have sons or daughters into sports, Luke was an all-world high school athlete, 2-time All-State, state champion quarterback, played against Sauce Gardner, played against Aiden Hutchinson, played against, did I say Sauce Gardner, Dante Moore from Oregon, Ryan Hollins, the Milwaukee Bucks. Actually, Luke scored 24 against them, and he guarded him all day, all game. So he's played against some of the greatest players in the world. He's got a really interesting perspective as a former quarterback, 6'5", 235, shattered college records at Madonna University as well, and is a top 15 all-time athlete at the famous Warren De La Salle High School in Warren, Michigan. So excited to have Luke back, not next week, but the following, it looks like. Maybe it'll work out. He's had a change in scheduling, and it was a temporary change, and we should have him back. So go ahead and scan that. Subscribe on YouTube. And then if you're not currently following on X, please do so at PB Sports Talks with an S on the end. That YouTube code is at PB Sports Talk. No S on the end. I know. I don't like the fact that one has an S and one doesn't have an S, but that's just the way that cookie crumbled. All right, so let's get to the picks here. I don't have it up on the screen, but I'm going to touch on Michigan, Ohio State here. What is it? Michigan's won 4 in a row. Those who know me know that I checked out of Michigan. I grew up a crazy, like literally a crazy, slappy Michigan fan. And I lost interest in the Harbaugh days when he was acting a fool, and even in the Denard Robinson days with Brady Hoke, then the Rich Rod experiment. That was actually Denard Robinson was with Rich Rod, and I checked out, and then getting bombarded by TCU, and then they ended up winning the national championship. Sorry, Portnoy. They did cheat. No matter what you want to say, they did cheat. So I don't really follow Michigan football anymore. I think I probably picked Ohio State the last 4 years, if I'm being honest with you. Some of it was just because I'm, bitter with them and was rooting against them. So I think I was wrong on at least 3 of those 4. And I think it's going to happen again tomorrow. Not that they're going to win. I'm going to pick Ohio State again for tomorrow. It is crazy that it's Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia does not have a very good reputation in Detroit. For those of you who don't know, we know it. And that was not a very good time for us with Matt Patricia. But defensive coordinator for Ohio State, I think he's going to have them perplexed. I think Bryce Underwood might end up being a pretty good quarterback. But there's something very off about him. Tom Brady talks about this all the time. The 1 ball, the 2 ball, the 3 ball. 1 being the fastball, 2 you take a little bit off, 3's that ball, maybe more like a moon ball, the ability to put some air under it and throw it far enough where your receiver can run underneath it. 2 things as it relates to Underwood. Number 1, I don't think he has the ability to layer passes like that. I don't think he has learned how to take steam off the ball. They were actually talking about Caleb Williams today. Kirk Herbstreit was talking about 1 or 2 of Caleb Williams' passes, always rifling the ball. Rifle, 1 ball, 1 ball, 1 ball, fastball like crazy. And he took a little bit off today, and the outcome was much better. Underwood does not have that ability to do that. So I actually think that he's not in a position yet. He's a young guy, obviously, a freshman. He's not in a position where he can make the plays he needs to against a defense and a team like this. Like, they might even be less effective with Underwood in tomorrow's game than they were in previous years, because he's so much of a wild card, and he's inconsistent, and he hasn't performed at a high level against anybody of significance. Now, you could say that in the previous years, Ohio State, this vaunted defense, and now this vaunted defense again, and then they come in and Michigan runs the ball down their throats. And that's still the calling card to Michigan. It isn't Underwood. They don't even have the weapons to open up Underwood, to be honest with you, which is a huge knock on the University of Michigan. And you cannot compete that way. They don't have difference makers at the skilled positions for the University of Michigan. You could say Underwood, but at wide receiver, at tight end, you could argue in the backfield, but they're not massive difference makers. And right now, he needs some of that. I don't think he can will the team to any type of, significant lead tomorrow and flip the script, flip the field. I don't see it. I see Ohio State controlling the game. I think they're going to be able to do pretty much what they want. If Michigan takes a little bit away the run away, they can. Sayin is a nice quarterback, man. He's well coached. He's very disciplined. He can make all the throws. He's a great decision maker. For somebody that isn't like this long-term veteran, it's like he really makes mature decisions. So for me, it's probably somewhere between a 14 and 17 point game tomorrow. It is a rivalry. I don't know if I would say that it is, but many say it's the greatest rivalry in college sports. There are some that are close to that. I think one's going on tonight. There are others, but I don't see 5 in a row, guys. I just don't see it. I see Ohio State winning that game, going away. Like I said, somewhere between 14 and 17 points. And if they're not careful, it could get away quickly. Michigan's defense has to keep them in the game a little bit because of the way Michigan is structured. They're not structured to come back from deficits. They would need to get out ahead. They would need to run the ball. They would need to control clock. They would need to win the turnover battle. And obviously the crowd element is a big deal. They would need all of those things to go right to even have a chance to win the game. And I don't see them as having difference makers like they've had in the past with guys like Aiden Hutchinson and others that can flip a game. So for Michigan fan, I don't think it turns out really well. I think Ohio State continues their run undefeated and stays right where they're at. So we'll see if I end up being right on that. All right, to the NFL we go. Let me take me off the screen here. One and two. Can you guys hear me now? It looks like it, as soon as I took myself off the screen, it took me off. It should be good now. Tell me if you guys can hear me. I apologize for that. All right. So I'll leave myself up on the split screen here. For some reason, when I took myself off the screen, I took the sound off. So we'll go back to where was I? Jacksonville the Saints. Thank you. The Saints and the Dolphins. Saints. Did you guys hear the Jacksonville, Tennessee? Where did you hear me leave off? Which pick? Was it Tampa and Arizona? Could you hear that? I'll just do them. I'll go back and do them over. We weren't all the way in. So the Rams at Carolina, I got the Rams -10.5. The Cardinals and Bucks, Baker Mayfield should be back and take the Bucks -4.5. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jacksonville's a little bit too inconsistent for me. I'll take the touchdown. Tennessee +6.5. Miami, schizophrenic team that they are. You never know exactly. Again? Okay, good. The Saints and the Dolphins, I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins -5.5 at home. All right, some of you are anxious to see this one. So it's San Francisco at Cleveland, and it's obviously Shedeur Sanders playing. I saw the clips earlier. So I'm in Florida now from Detroit, and I had heard that the snow was coming in. It got real cold yesterday in Michigan and obviously Ohio. Cleveland is about 3.5 hours from Michigan, and I saw the snow on the ground. I'm not sure exactly what the weather is going to be on Sunday, but obviously you have a warm weather team from San Francisco coming to Cleveland to play on their home field. On Cleveland's home field. They're kind of built, to be honest with you. McCaffrey can handle his business there. Purdy can handle his business there. Kittle can handle his business there. And the fact that San Francisco is down Warner and Bosa might actually help them. I'm getting to it. Don't worry, because didn't matter to me if the weather was perfect. Let's say 40 and sunny on a perfect fall/winter day, or it's snow like it is now. That's San Francisco all day. I'll do the egg on my face. You could throw it at me and call me every name in the book. If I'm wrong, I got to see it. I have to see it. The 49ers -4.5 over Cleveland, regardless of weather circumstances. All right, moving on. Falcons and Jets. I'm taking the Jets +2.5. Falcons, Kirk Cousins. I get it, but it's at the Jets, and I'm a bigger Aaron Glenn guy. I think they're going to be just fine over there. The kid is good. Who? Shedeur Sanders? Is that who you're talking about? Jesus? The Texans and the Colts. Colts -3.5. Daniel Jones does not look good. Yeah. He's got to prove it, and I'm not buying it. I think he's mid, to be honest with you. I don't think he's a pocket guy. I don't want to go through it all again, but there are some people here that don't know how I feel about him. I don't think he could read NFL defenses. I think he's a schoolyard quarterback. He's like I used to do, play in the street when I was 14 and go down to the car, turn around, and I'll hit you, or go to the street light and I'll hit you. That's the type of player he is. If you let him get out of the pocket a little bit, coverage breaks down, he has the ability to throw the ball down the field and make plays. That's what he did at Colorado. It's what he'll do in Cleveland if he's allowed to do that. But if you have him in and you make him sit back and you make him read NFL defenses, I don't think he can do it. He's never done it. He didn't do it at Jackson State. He didn't do it at Colorado. He wasn't required to do that because what's the difference between him and Trevor Lawrence? Well, he had two different style quarterbacks. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is 6'5" and he can't move like Shedeur Sanders can. I mean, they're different style quarterbacks, and I don't even know if you can make an assessment or a comparison to any other quarterback, right, until you see him play. But as far as what we have seen, and as far as what I saw in college, They put players around him that made him look better. I don't believe he's in a position to make other teams better. And I don't think that the Raiders last week is a great example of a great measuring stick or a great barometer of what he is. Every quarterback looks phenomenal against the Raiders. I mean, this is not even a personal attack on Shedeur Sanders. For me, it was run a crow route up to the black Cadillac, and I got you. Yeah, that works too. Street light, black Cadillac. You know that stick over there, the fire hydrant? Yep. It wasn't a Cadillac for me. I grew up in Detroit. I was playing on 7 Mile. If anybody, well, no, south of 8 Mile. Everybody knows what 8 Mile is. I grew up on 7.5 Mile. I was born on 6 Mile. So 6 Mile, famous Eminem movie, 8 Mile. I grew up on 6 Mile, or I was born on 6 Mile. And then most of the next 19 years was at 7.5 Mile. So just south of 8 Mile. So that's my story. There wasn't a Cadillac. At least we didn't have one. So I don't think we're in a position to compare Shedeur Sanders to anybody. He needs to have, that too. Run to the tree and go left. Yeah, on the hand, drawing plays on the hand. These kids today, it's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, go here and then cut, like these fancy plays. Go here, cut, and go back the other way. Go here and cut, go back the other way. Yeah. Man, those were the days. That was when like life was a lot easier. It was in such a hurry to grow up, but life was a lot easier back then. Sometimes I wish I can go in a time machine and just go back. Anyways, Shedeur, I don't think we can compare him to anybody yet. We need a body of work to see that. And everybody's bugging for it, and they're going to get it. And let's see what he does against San Francisco. Robert Saleh is one of the best defensive coordinators, and I'm sure he's salivating at this. Snow or no snow, and Bosa and Warner or not, he's going to scheme to confuse the heck out of him. We'll see how he does. I'll be watching. I'm sure everybody else will. The Texans at the Colts. I'm taking the Texans. I said it a couple of weeks ago, and this is prior to Daniel Jones getting injured. They're going to start playing some teams now. Trips left, Wingo right, zebra dash, check with me. Yeah, pretty much. Houston over Indianapolis, plus 3.5. That's crazy. Give me the Texans plus the points. Vikings plus 11.5 at Seattle. Give me Seattle minus the 11.5. Minnesota's got. I don't even know who's starting. Wentz is out for the year. McCarthy's out. I don't even know who's playing. They still got what's his name? Nick Mullins. Is Nick Mullins still there? I'm not sure. Buffalo at the Steelers. Buffalo all day. The Steelers are finished. Rodgers are not. Give me the Bills. Raiders at the Chargers. That's a big number, but give me the Chargers minus 9.5. Although I will say this, and I had been calling for it, and I had been saying it for years. Chip Kelly should never be in the NFL again. He is not designed for the NFL. Now, the 1 year he had all the success with Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, and LaShawn McCoy, I had 2 of those 3 guys on my fantasy team, and I was all excited because he came in and he wanted to run all these offensive plays and everything was hurry up. He had it for a moment there, but he never did again. And he's never been the same since he left Oregon. So the fact that Chip Kelly is actually gone, Geno Smith is not as bad as he has played. I think there was a challenge there. There's actually talk about he was calling either the wrong plays or communicating, and I'm talking about he being Chip Kelly was calling or communicating the wrong plays either by definition or at the wrong time. I think everybody was frustrated. This is a calling card for Chip Kelly. It seems like everywhere he's been in the NFL is a problem. Now, when he was at UCLA, when he was at Ohio State, it seems to work better. So I actually think that the Raiders could be quickly too, can actually be better without him quickly. So that is a lot of points, but the Chargers, this is must-win territory, and it's at home. So got to go Chargers here minus the 9.5. All right. Broncos and Commanders. That's my guy, Bo Nix. If you follow me, you know what I think about Bo Nix and what I said about him leading up to the 24 draft. A couple of days before the 24 draft. Give me Denver -5.5 over the Commanders. Jackson Dart got cleared for Monday night. If you don't know my prediction about Jackson Dart, check out my YouTube channel. Check out X. It's all over the place about what I predicted about Jackson. I said that he would be the best quarterback in this draft. He will go down in the Hall of Fame. This is all pre the season starting. He would be a Hall of Fame quarterback. He would be better than Eli Manning, and it is all as advertised so far, minus the injury. Brian Daboll obviously gone now. We'll see how that all works out. New coach coming next year. Patriots, very, very good team. Very, very well balanced. Give me the Giants with Dart back home or back in action, even though it's not at home and it's at the Pats. Give me the Giants plus the 7.5. Laying 120 on that. Obviously, that hook makes a big difference. So these lines are just before I came on the show tonight. So I would jump on that and try to get that hook for Monday night because it may change. You'll see money go the other way. People dropping money at the end there. Let me just pull something up here real quick. Yeah, so again, the code up at the top there, please go ahead and scan that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That'll take you right there. Go ahead and just before we close out here, go ahead and scan that. It'll take you. Please smash the subscribe button. Share it with somebody if you wouldn't mind. On X is where most all of our material goes. That is at PB Sports Talks. Please follow us there. Everything goes there first. Things go secondarily to YouTube. So that's going to wrap it for this week's show. Went a little bit longer than what I planned. That seems to happen a lot. Everybody have an amazing weekend. Enjoy the Texas A&M game. I'm going to go tune into that and see how that game's coming along and what Arch Manning's doing. Everybody have a great weekend. Still, it's a full Thanksgiving weekend. It's a time that I'm very grateful. If you don't know my story, I was in a coma in 2016. Not even supposed to be here. So 10, 11 years later, very grateful to be here. I say it every week. I'll say it again. Hug someone, hold someone, love someone. Life is short. Enjoy those closest to you. It's my favorite holiday of the year, is Thanksgiving, because of the true meaning. It's not commercialized, although Black Friday is. It's not commercialized. There's you were cooking. Great info, PB. Thank you. It's not commercialized. It isn't about the gifts. It's just more about being thankful for what we do have, regardless of where you're at in your life and what your circumstances are. There are still things that could always be worse and things that we can always be thankful for. So whatever that is for you, reflect. It's a great time to do that. Again, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. Be back again, most likely next Friday. Luke will return the following week, and look forward to having him back. And hopefully we have some great shows coming up for you guys. So hope you follow. Smash the subscribe button. Take care, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye now.